My name's Libby Sartain. I'm formerly head of HR for Southwest Airlines and for Yahoo. And now I'm pretty much an independent director on boards of directors. I serve on 2 publicly traded boards, also on the board of a nonprofit and the SHRM Foundation. I have learned a lot of lessons along the way in my career, but I think one of the most valuable lessons I've learned that I'd like to share today is how the culture changes at different levels within the organization, and to be sensitive to that and to figure out how do I work within the new culture. So my story is that I was part of Southwest Airlines for 13 years, but I was head of HR, but I was not on the executive team, which was sort of a coveted role, what we used to call getting a seat at the table. And that was very important to me. I lobbied for it, and I finally earned that seat at the table. Now, when I joined the company, I was not an executive at the executive level. I was promoted to the head of HR. And when I made that promotion, I anticipated that I need to gain support of my peers. I need to find out what their issues are. How could I, as the leader in HR, support their businesses? But when I moved up from just the VP team to the executive leadership team, I didn't realize what a big step and what a big role that was. In my mind, I thought I was chosen because I have a voice, I have an opinion, I make things happen, and they want me there to represent the talent in the organization and how we're going to find the right talent to support their businesses. So the first meeting I was going to attend was January. It was the first of the year assignment. Our CEO sent out an email saying that we're going to spend a whole day in a planning session. We're going to talk about what new markets we should be in. Should we acquire other companies? What new technologies might help us? What are some scenarios if a recession hits or if something goes wrong that's beyond our control? And what kind of leaders do we need? What's going to be the right talent to be part of the team? So I thought, oh, I've hit the jackpot. This is like, I'm really going to make a difference. And I've spent the whole weekend sort of reading up on topics, some of the topics I didn't know about, like certain kinds of technology that we might be using, or even what marketplaces we might be going into. And I thought, I need to have an opinion on every subject. So the first thing I did, and it's kind of funny, but I sat in the wrong chair. Now, I know that's silly, but before the executive leadership meeting, there was always a compensation meeting, which I led, and I sat in the middle of the table, and everybody gathered around me there. So I just stayed in the same chair I had been in. It was the same room. And I said, is it okay if I sit here, or do we have assigned seats? And everybody said, fine. But I kind of felt, after about 10 minutes, I'm not sitting in the right chair. Turns out the CFO always sat in that chair. I learned that later. So I started out wrong. And I probably should have got up, come back in, and seen where everybody else sat, and then taken my seat. The second thing is I chimed in and tried to have an opinion wherever I could. That was wrong. What would have been the right thing to do would be that I should have sat and listened and learned and only contributed where it was about the people in the organization, the talent, the leadership, and how we might support new businesses with the right talent. I felt it went wrong. I was very uncomfortable at the end of the meeting. And so one other lesson I learned is it's not fatal. You can adjust from that situation. And luckily I had a couple of mentor-type friends on that executive leadership team, and I went to them and I just was honest. I said, I felt like I was wrong, something went wrong. And one of my friends said, first of all, most of that table didn't want you there. They don't like HR. You think they do, but they don't. So every time you opened your mouth, no matter what you said, it was an unwelcome suggestion. Second of all, you chimed in on areas that really you haven't earned the right to have an opinion on. Maybe you do, but you haven't earned the right. And so you should have listened and learned and contributed in your arena and been much more humble. Now, this was the same group of people that I'd been in many meetings with, and nothing had ever gone wrong. but the use of things like humor and things like that were not appropriate. It was a very serious meeting. And if I had it to all do over again, I would have visited with everyone on that team in advance and said, I'm joining the team, what's the rhythm, how do you speak, how do you contribute, what works best? And so I try to pass that along to other people who do get where they really want and need to be, and now need to use it in the best way to help the organization succeed and your own career.